So I've decided from now until the draft, all of our hashtag content is just going to be us reading mock drafts and acting like the two old dudes from the Muppets, like. So next up, Pro Football Focus released a 3-round analyst mock draft, and it should be a good time. So let's see how they did for the Vikings. Ooh, we're going to grade them. Yeah, we're going to grade them on a scale of 100. So is it going to be Harrison Smith, a la 2017, high safety grade ever in PFF history? Or is it going to be Pat Elflein's pass blocking grades? I don't know. I guess we'll see. So let's get into it. Vikings. So first pick is at 22. So they go cornerback there. A.J. Terrell out of Clemson. I ain't mad at it at all. We've talked about that. We personally do put Terrell slightly below the second tier of cornerbacks where you got Gladney, Fulton, Jalen Johnson. They even allude to that a bit in the piece. Where A.J. Terrell, safe pick. I think he's a decent mirror. Of course, that national title game against Jamar Chase. Not so much. Yeah. But if you wanted a cornerback that had some of the better attributes of Trey Waynes, but not as fast, but also way better hips, A.J. Terrell could do a lot worse there. But again, it wouldn't necessarily be my cup of tea, but fully understand the pick here, respected. Next up, they go wide receiver. Oh, nope. Spoiler alert, Justin Matabuke. So they get my guy, Texas A&M. What is Texas A&M? Gig him? Yeah, gig him. Anyways, 25. Vikings go wide receiver. Michael Pittman Jr. coming out of USC. Now, dude is legit. I mean, 6'4", 220, 230 if he's an ounce. Not a burner, not a big separator, but what he will be is that massive outside the numbers type wide receiver. Put him at the X, let Thielen work from the slot or the other side, and then just operate. Just do some big things, right? So for me, you obviously do get some Mike Evans vibes or any other stereotypical big-bodied wide receiver. I don't hold what Treadwell failed to do against Michael Pittman. I think Michael Pittman certainly is his own man. But also what I find this really interesting is that so they go this route, and Mekhi Becton is still on board. Eventually, he goes 37 to the Chargers. Apparently, he's going to be their heir apparent to Russell Okung there. But, I mean, PFF hates Mekhi Becton. They really do. Like, I fully understand the trepidation about it. But, I mean, full on, not even having him in the top 35, 36 picks. That's, whew. I mean, yeah, certainly he does have some pretty big bust potential, but I don't know, man. That's rough. Also, note, so they do have Laviska Shenault going 12 for the Saints. That would be a lot of fun. And by a lot of fun, I mean absolutely terrible and dreadful. So Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Laviska Shenault doing Percy Harvin-esque things. Get out of here. Get the hell out of here. So if day one wraps up like this, Thursday evening, Vikings fans, after a couple of cocktails, you got your cornerback. A.J. Terrell going to start opposite of Mike Hughes. Throw Holton in there as well. Michael Pittman, the big X outside the numbers receiver. Feel pretty good. I mean, O-line for sure. But going into day two, feeling pretty good. So like we said, the Vikings did pass up on Mekhi Becton, but also note they passed up a lot of interior and tackle offensive line talent here. So Jonah Jackson goes 39 to the Dolphins. Again, perfect, absolutely perfect stone cold left guard scheme fit for the Minnesota Fighting Vikings. And some of these spots, would you take Jonah Jackson at 25? That does seem a little bit rich for him, but also they have him going 39 overall. Should the Vikings potentially move up, make a play for Jonah, I would in this spot. But also Cesar Ruiz. A lot of outlets do see him as a potential first-round pick. Frankly, if the Vikings just stick and picked Cesar Ruiz in the first round, if there's a run on tackles, I wouldn't be mad. Our boy Ezra Cleveland goes 48 to the Jets. Going to be a future left tackle there. Pittsburgh Steelers go Nathani Moody. It hurts. It hurts so much. And then Barsh goes 52. Is that a little bit early for Ben Barsh? Although he does have the opportunity to sit for a year or two behind Andrew Whitworth, so he does have that going on for him. But yeah, the Vikings, it's similar to what happened in 2018, where the Vikings ended up luckboxing their way into Brian O'Neill at 62. But there was a big run on offensive linemen in the second round that the Vikings they should have seen coming because basically it sort of happens every year. So the fact that the Vikings went with Pittman in the first round, and they went with A.J. Terrell in the first round, that they sort of missed out on sort of that really nice, still premier second tier of offensive linemen. That's a little rough. That is a little rough. But at 58, as we alluded to, that did get our guy Justin Matabuke out of Texas A&M. I love this kid. For me, it's pretty close between Matabuke and Gallimore and Jordan Elliott in terms of defensive interior guys. But I mean, this is just some straight up value. Like, they haven't gotten a full on 3-tech penetrator since Sheldon Richardson and before the better parts of Sharif Floyd. So this does make a lot of sense. But like we said, just passing up on offensive line, because you sort of hamstrung yourself now, because you look at the offensive linemen that are available now. So Jack Driscoll out of Auburn. Also, you look at Austin Jackson. I mean, they also don't like Austin Jackson. Like, I don't know if he fell that far. Like, I'm not the biggest Austin Jackson fan in the world either. I am a little. He's not Becton, but obviously has the physical attributes. But I think his floor to ceiling ratio is pretty wide. But if it had played out where they went cornerback and wide receiver in the first round, and Jackson was still sitting there at 58, probably would have brought it up and gotten Austin Jackson. Even though we always talk about drafting BPA over for need. I mean, just because the gaps and the chasms there. But I'm happy with Matabuke, but it is a little rough. But also, you look like Matt Pert, Isaiah Wilson, who they do not like Isaiah Wilson either. So they're still on board. Damian Lewis as well before the Vikings eventually do go offensive line. So you saw it, spoiler, 89. Vikings go Robert Hunt, where he's a dude I absolutely love. Like, in terms of just absolute maulers in the interior, you're going to have Robert Hunt and you're going to have Nathani Moody in this draft. Also John Simpson to a degree. But Robert Hunt played right tackle at Louisiana, figures to kick inside at the NFL level. Just mountain of a man-sized strength. And the problem is that, and one of the reasons that we keep pushing for tackle, and that it's a pretty good tackle class. You got a big 5, big 6, big 6.5. But also guys like Robert Hunt, where schematically, I would prefer a Jonah Jackson over Robert Hunt, especially since Robert Hunt has played tackle primarily at Louisiana, is going to be kicking inside, so is going to be learning a new position, although the learning curve from tackle to guard is relatively low. The fact that he's probably better suited to be a right guard, same thing with Drew Samia. They are cut from a similar cloth. Could that be an issue if one of them has to kick over to the left side, where you generally do have a more agile guard? Or, I got nothing. But is this a spot too where the Vikings could be looking at, say, Lucas Niang from TCU, if the injury history checks out, or even a Matt Hennessy, like we mentioned, interior lineman out of Temple would be a very solid scheme fit as well. It's almost like Hennessy and Niang would be better scheme fit, but Hunt is just like, you just can't pass up that power, right? So I fully understand it there. And then lastly, at 105 in the third round, the Vikings pick up James Lynch out of Baylor. Now, he was a dynamic edge rusher at Baylor. Now, does he project to be an edge in the NFL? Probably not. But also, does he have the staying power to be an every down 3-tech on the inside? He is a bit of a tweener, but you are going to love the heart and hustle element of his game. And also, if the Vikings are looking to move more towards that 3-4, having James Lynch as a 5-tech defensive end in that 3-4, I think that actually is probably best suited for him. And then also in sub packages, you can kick him inside in a little bit of a NASCAR packages. There's certain spots, if they are back in the base 4-3 as they run a hybrid front, could you put him at that left defensive end side where you generally do have a little bit stouter defensive ends? Yeah, that could absolutely work. But I think overall, I mean, if this played out the way that it did for the Vikings, I love Matabuke. I like James Lynch a lot. I like Robert Hunt. I do have questions of scheme fit wise, as well as him being the first Vikings offensive lineman off the board. I do worry that the Vikings may have hamstrung themselves a little bit, where would you have to overdraft some of your guys just because, I mean, it does seem like you're overdrafting at a single pick, but also the next pick that probably won't be there. Like we mentioned, that run in the mid rounds, or top of the second round in the mid picks. Jonah Jackson goes, Cesar Ruiz, Ezra Cleveland, Nathaniel Moody, Ben Barsh goes, etc. Could be that spot as well. But yeah, I hate missing out on those premium offensive linemen. I hate missing out on the big tackles as well. Where, I mean, Pittman, I get it, respect. But also, if you wanted stylistically a similar wide receiver, you could have gone Brian Edwards in the third round. You could have gone Antonio Gandy Golden in the third round as well. This is such a deep wide receiver class that maybe you should be taking advantage of, similar swap outs or, closest in relative value, as opposed to just completely bricking out on some of these offensive tackles and premier offensive linemen. But I mean, that seems to me my big knock on a lot of these mock drafts is that they don't take the Vikings offensive line needs seriously enough. But we know, of course we know. I'd say overall grade 69.0. Yeah, for PFF on this mock draft. Pretty good. 60 is average in the PFF rating, so above average certainly has potential, but also could have greatly improved out there. But that is all. All right, your thoughts on our thoughts on the PFF 3-round analyst mock draft. Let us know in the comment section below. But until next time, Skull, production value.